Namaskar. A very good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I am Shanta Varadachari from the organizing team Bangkok. A warm welcome to all of you to this beautiful land of smiles. It's been such a pleasure to host you all at the World Hindu Congress 2023. As the countdown to the World Hindu Congress started, the Bangkok team was super excited to meet each and every one of you in person. It has been a delight to work with Kritika Sharma ji, who is the international coordinator for Hindu Women Conference. She is a fourth generation Hindu, living outside Bharat, yet firmly rooted in a beautiful Bharatiya culture. She is currently working as prevention program facilitator at Child and Family Focus Inc. She has donned many hats previously, such as health promotion advisor, trustee of the Asian Women and Family Trust New Zealand, facilitator of the Ethnic Women's Leadership Network in New Zealand, former Joint General Secretary of Hindu Council of New Zealand, founding team member of Hindu Youth New Zealand and Australia. I call upon Kritika Sharma ji to commence the Hindu Women Conference 2023. Thank you.
World Hindu Women's Conference. This is the fourth time through this platform that we have stopped our busy schedules, put our families and personal plans on hold, and gathered together here as Hindus to meet and discuss issues before Hindu community. And that in itself is a big deal. This room is very special because this is the women's conference room. And for women to come here, we have had to make so many arrangements, right? Each one of you who's here in this room, weren't you so busy before coming? You had to put so many measures in place at work to ensure that your work gets done while you are away at this conference. Some of you have made an arrangement that you will be available remotely. And then even busier schedules at home. We have made arrangements for food for our children, our parents, other family members, and what their schedules are like, who's going to take care of that. All of that has been taken care of, and then we could come here. And then we started the journey. Some of us took a couple of hours car ride, a couple of hours flight and came here. Some of us have traveled hundreds of miles. There are women present from 61 countries in this room today right now. Hindu women from 61 countries. When you started your journey, so 61 countries means you flew. I hope nobody came by boat. It would take a long time. So you flew here. Some of us arrived. So the journey has been smooth for some and rough for some. Some of us found our transport just like that and arrived at our hotels. It was wonderful. And some of us felt abandoned. Some of us arrived when the food was being served, and others arrived when there was no vyavastha here and you didn't find what you wanted to eat. And then when you eventually got to the venue, the registration was so far and they made you walk to so many different places that your feet were hurting. Despite all odds, after each of these different small barriers, we are all in this room here together. We've made it. That shows our commitment to our Hindu Dharma, society and civilization. All of the pains and roughness in our journey outweighs the commitment we have towards Hindu Dharma. And look around you. I know that registration-wise there was slightly over 200 registrations, but that I know that people are in different conferences. But that means that there are over 200 women in exactly the same boat who are doing exactly the same thing. And that's what gives me comfort in knowing that I am not alone. So, Hindu women have been in the forefront of Hindu resurgence for a very long time. We comprise of the 50% of the global Hindu population, and you've heard this over and over again so many times. Although it's not heavily mentioned in textbooks and popular discourse, but we've had a pivotal role in sustaining Hindu Dharma as well. We've heard of examples of Hindu women ranging from great sovereigns like Rani Durgavati ji, Rani Ahilya Bai Holkar ji, Rani Chennamma, Rani Lakshmi Bai ji of Jhansi, and Rani Avanti Bai ji. Then we've heard about great teachers like Madalsa ji, Mata Jija Bai ji, after whom our conference hall has been named today as well. And then devotees like Andal Devi ji, Meera Bai ji, Laleshwari ji, and Kanati ji. And to great activists and revolutionaries like Sister Nivedita ji, Durga Bhavi, and Preeti Lata ji. They have all courageously stepped forward to provide critical and pivotal support to Hindu society when our community was in need. Unfortunately, the role of Hindu women in Hindu resurgence has largely gone unnoticed and unacknowledged. Furthermore, the number of women participating, particularly in leadership roles, in the recent Hindu resurgence movement has declined to an unacceptable level. I mean, look at the ratio of male to female delegates at the World Hindu Congress 2023. So this decline has led to the talents and abilities of approximately 50% of the global Hindu population to go neglected, underutilized, and unnoticed. And in order to reverse this disturbing trend, Hindu Women Forum aims to mobilize the Hindu women of our society today. We strongly believe in the power and potential of Hindu women. We seek to bring Hindu women from diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and professions who can support each other in various aspects of human endeavor, as well as advocating the Hindu perspectives from their local neighborhoods to colleges to the parliaments of their respective countries. We understand perfectly that Hindu resurgence is not the role of men only, it is the role of women too. It is the responsibility of women too. But today only handful women are in the forefront. If we really want Hindu society to progress and Hindu resurgence movement to flourish, we need to utilize the 50% of untapped potential, which is ourselves. A very dynamic and passionate Hindu woman leader is present in the room today. A few months ago said to me, Pritika, no matter how many men are part of the Hindu resurgence movement, no difference will come about until woman comes in the forefront. So, there was a dark patch in Hindu history. No doubt, where Hindu society had to kind of decide between, am I going to send her to school or am I going to save her life? So because of the dark patch in our history, we kind of, at that time, got a little bit left behind on the education front, which had its own repercussions. If there's lack of education, then you don't go in the forefront, and then your roles start changing. But that is not the case today. Today, when you go to school, when men and women go to school, everyone is taught the same things. We learn physics, maths, science, astrology, whatever we learn. Male and female students are taught exactly the same thing. Then why, when women become leaders, sometimes women will say, yeah, I will be the leader and look after women's issues. Why? You learned exactly the same syllabus in politics, you learned the same syllabus in history, math, science. You can think about not just women issues and women advancement. We are thinking about advancement of the whole society. So here, when you come, when you'll be listening to the discussions and deliberations over the next day and a half, we will be talking about our contribution to the advancement of the Hindu cause and advancement of Hindu society. We are not talking about only advancement of Hindu women here. So that is one of our goals to achieve over the next 6 sessions. So there are 6 sessions, as you know, at this conference: academia, media, politics, and uplifting the financial status of our society. I'm not saying uplifting the financial status of women only, uplifting the financial status of the entire Hindu society. So there are challenges before Hindu society that emerge from the academia. Hindus are portrayed in a light that shows them as only patriarchal or Brahminical or a casteist society. Because our world has respect for information that comes out of academic institutions, the wider society believes what academic institutions say. And this information keeps spreading and perpetuates. Question before us is, what are we going to do about it? It doesn't matter whether I'm sitting around a table with men or women, whatever the gender. The question is, what strategies are we going to make as a collective Hindu society to inform the world about Hindu civilization, Hindu society and Hindu Dharma? How are we going to network and strengthen the existing few and far academics who know of each other but are not in a position of strength to speak much because of how the academia is designed? They also need to get their salary checks, they need to also receive research funding to continue their job, which is why sometimes it is hard to speak against what a large number of their colleagues is saying. So what are we going to do about this? That is the sort of question we will try to think about in the first session, Hindus in Academia. Second session of this conference will focus on sustainable economy. Our desire is to make Hindu society more and more prosperous. The entire Hindu culture, society, civilization and our ideology is based on the notion of Devi Lakshmi Ji, a woman who is the giver of wealth. At this conference, we want to troubleshoot as to how we can mobilize more and more women avatar of Devi Lakshmi Ji and transform them into givers of wealth. When women are leading economic ventures, they uplift the status of a large number of women too. So that's also an advantage of having women lead economic ventures. We cannot assume that it is also, this is another thing, we cannot only assume that it is the role of women in business to think about how to generate more wealth for the society. Today at this conference in session 2, we will talk about how there are many ways in which each and every woman present in this room, you need not be a businesswoman, how each and every one of you present here can contribute to creating an ecosystem to generate more wealth for the entire society. I invite you to put your serious thinking caps on during session 2 and think of the role you want to play in this ecosystem. Because believe me, each and every one of you is very important in that ecosystem. The third session, which will be the first session that we'll start off with tomorrow morning, it will talk about Hindu women's participation in political and democratic processes. It is no doubt that we want to see more and more Hindu women as political leaders throughout the world. That is no doubt that we want to see that. However, in the current world, politics is the role of decision makers of the society. And women are perfectly capable, Hindu women are perfectly capable to be those decision makers. Political process, however, comprise of more than just being the leader of a political party or being a politician. In addition to that, there are a number of smaller ways in which we can contribute to the decision making process. Session 3 was designed to highlight what those small ways are and how can we identify which of those elements are present around us. Are there school boards present? Are there district health boards present? Are there local council present? So where are we looking at? How can we enter these small spaces and make a big difference for Hindu society where we live in, locally? Session 4 of the conference will talk about voices and views of women in media, the print media, electronic media and social media. It directs the way, so media directs the way majority of people think. It creates narratives, it puts ideas in form of perceptions into people's minds. You will hear during this session how terminologies we use to describe a society paints a picture about that society. And that's how the rest of the wider society, that's the perception they form about the people that are talked about. You will hear how essential it is for us as Hindus to articulate our thoughts, because if we fail to articulate about our dharma, our civilization and our identity, then we fail to inform the other person about who we are. The opportunity in this room is that each and everyone present here is a user of some form of media. And that is one change you can make effectively right here in this room or the moment you leave this conference. So hopefully after listening to session 4, you'll think about maybe one change or wants something different that you'd like to do with the media sources that you engage with or that you consume that could make a difference to Hindu society. Session 5 in this conference will talk about human rights, law and society. This topic will be discussed for the first time at the Hindu Women Conference. This is an extremely important topic to discuss. As we speak over the next, so as we will be having discussions here at the Impact Center in Thailand, Bangkok over the next 2 days, it is really said that some young Hindu girl, a minor, will be kidnapped in Pakistan, forcefully married to someone 2 or 3 times her age, and will be presented in a court where she will willingly say that I have willingly gone and willingly converted from my dharma to a different mazhab. So that is the sad reality of what is happening in the world. Hindus are persecuted in very large numbers in countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. The sad thing is that nobody is counting the heads and nobody is talking about the pains they are suffering only because they are Hindus. So Session 5 will talk about the persecution of Hindus in countries. It will talk about how grooming and conversion is impacting on a country, a local case study in UK. And then we will have a speaker who will talk about her lived experience of how she was a target of love jihad and how she managed to come out of that situation. And now she has taken it upon herself to share her story so that more and more women and girls are aware of how Hindus are selectively targeted. So I hope you will find that session interesting. The final session tomorrow will discuss the Hindu vision of womanhood. We have 3 selected esteemed panelists who will highlight what sets apart Hindu women from the rest of the women in the world. And the panel discussion is designed to talk to you, the audience, and you will be able to ask more questions to the panelists in session 6 tomorrow. Our final concluding note will be about nurturing leadership and leaders grounded in Hindu idea of womanhood. In the end, we will ask for your feedback tomorrow. And after listening to all these 5 key areas, academia, politics, education, and economy, we want to hear from you which of the areas interest you the most and which area you would like to participate in with this Hindu resurgence movement. As Hindu women today, our divinity, identity, dharma, and society, for the growth of which we bear pain as joy, is in danger. We have issues to be addressed. We have responsibilities that only we can take forward for our dharma. To do so in present times, it is essential to have this Hindu Women Forum platform where we can identify, introduce, address, and solve larger issues. With these thoughts, I welcome each and every one of you to the 4th Hindu Women's Conference.
Good afternoon, Namaskar, Sawadika, Vanakkam. This is Swarna Subbu from the Bangkok organizing team. Today, I am so privileged to introduce the chair of our very first session, Indra Tiwari ji. Indra Tiwari ji is a volunteer with the Hindu Women Forum since its inception. She was a member of the organizing committee of the Hindu Women Conference during the World Hindu Congress 2014 in New Delhi. She has served Hindu community for almost 20 years in different areas like Bal Vihar, conducting storytelling and children activities concerning Hindu heritage in American schools. Her mission is to bring awareness to the Hindu community about the bias in portrayal of Hindus and how it affects the survival and human rights of Hindus. Indra Tiwari ji is trained in biological sciences and has taught biology for 10 years before moving to Bharat. I humbly request Indra Tiwari ji to be on the stage. So this session would be incomplete without the speakers. So I would like to call upon all the speakers of today's first session. Meenakshi Sharanji from Bharat, Professor Raka Aryaji from Bhopal, Bharat, and Professor Deepli Singh Ji from Bharat, and Dr. Vedika Mati Udoyal Chekhori Ji from Mauritius. Thank you.
Efforts to foist one's own ideology and terminate the other has been a mainstay of civilizations of the majority of this world. Hindus to a very large extent have avoided these tendencies. Perhaps this is the reason there is so much diversity in our communities. It is a big workplace with a room for all sorts of schools of thoughts. We are the only civilization that has believed in settling our ideological arguments by debate rather than sword. Unfortunately, the world around us doesn't debate. In olden days, they conquered using swords, and now the ideological war has moved to the classrooms, to the newsrooms, and cinemas, etc. But this war is no different than the one fought with swords. The playing field is uneven and not fair. While Hindus were studying science and engineering, doing trade, and generally busy in nation building, communists and their assorted collaborators were busy capturing institutions and affecting all aspects of our social life, our schools, colleges, cinema, festivals, etc. Being naturally tolerant of differing opinions and questioning accepted practices, we did not find anything wrong in this slow and subtle change. This slow and subtle vilification of our dharmic practices and distortion of our civilizational history. It took a few decades for the common people to realize that all this was happening to Hindus only, where much egregious practices of other religions were never questioned. Those who did question were denied space to do so. All the institutions were populated with leftist voices, and opposing views were not allowed. People with opposing views were not allowed to set foot in the door. So today, we find ourselves where there are volumes of so-called academic work, which is anything but that, vilifying and distorting our civilization with nobody in a position to question them in a robust manner. It is time to engage with the rest of the world, put forth our viewpoint, counter the vandalization of our civilizational history and our dharmic thought. We must support our academicians, as it is through academics the ideas live and die. When Narad Muni took away Hiranyakashyap's son to his ashram, I'm talking about Prahlad. So he was raised in this ashram, even though Hiranyakashyap, his father, was staunchly against Hari. He was enemy of Vishnu. But Prahlad came out to be his biggest bhakt. So this is what education can do. So if you change the mind, you change the future generations. Communists have done that. We were sort of late to realize it, and it is time we learn from our own stories. Today we have 4 academicians and activists with us. Tornaji has already introduced, and as we go through the discussions, I will say a little about them. So I welcome Srimati Meenakshi Sharanji. She is an entrepreneur and an activist. She has been working very hard to correct history through arts. I would like to mention that she started Shraddh ceremony for people, for Hindus who had died in all sorts of riots, especially 1947. Through this, she keeps their memory alive. She keeps the history alive in our memories. So it cannot be erased by any communist distorting the books. So I'm really thankful for that. So I now invite Srimati Sharanji to come.
Okay, so namaste. Accept my pronouns, please. Thank you for having me here to talk about the ancient most dharma on this earth. Thank you for inviting me to the Nagari of Sri Vishnu. Siam is named after him, and Ayodhya after Sri Ram. And the 10th king is, he took upon himself, the first king of Siam took upon himself the name of Sri Ram. And the 10th one is like he's the 10th descendant of the Chakri dynasty, again named after Vishnu ji. When we celebrate Kartik Purnima on the 27th, they'll be also lighting lamps and floating diyas, how we do deepdan in the rivers and water bodies. They call it Loy Gardhan. How beautifully dharma connects. I'll be just speaking about what we were, because we have to start talking about where we began, because we've been there forever. Dharma has been there forever. It is not a word called religion which just came into being about a few centuries ago. The cosmic law that binds us together, that holds everything together, that regulates and operates everything in this universe is dharma. And living by, abiding by, and living in accord with that cosmic order is dharma. And that is where we come from. So first of all, we have to start correcting how we speak. It isn't any ism. That also came into being only in the 1800s. It isn't a myth. It's our itihas, recorded in our Purans, in Ramayana, in Mahabharata. So we're going to talk about what we were. And like how Indrani ji said that I started this Shraddh Sankalp Divas, I urged all the Hindu community across the world to start, kind of take a vow on the 15th of August to do the Shraddh Tarpans of all the many crores who've been killed through centuries for just being Hindus. Because we are the only society in this world that has survived 1400 years of aggression and still prevailed. And we are here to stay. Adi se Anant tak. Our thought and our ideology is that we all come from the same source. And that same source is there very much in everybody, from Brahma to a blade of grass. And that's why each of them demand or should be given equal respect. And none of us have the right to encroach upon the right of others, nor do we have the right to hold. That is why even today, in millions and millions of mandirs, millions and millions of Hindus worship and pray for the well-being of everybody. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Not just that, we even worship for their fulfillment and their evolvement. We say, Sarve sham purnam bhavatu, ki sabko purnta prapto. So we are coming from there. And that is what actually has kept us together. That is what has kept us together. That is why we were able to survive the aggression, and we still would. Narratives have been built, and many narratives have been built in the Asiatic society in the 1800s, And somehow we've come to believe that. Now, the most surprising thing is this: how does the Hindu society come to believe these false narratives built around our society, calling them our ills, where a society is worshipping for each and everybody, even for a blade of grass? Where is the question of inequality? Where is the question of discrimination? We worship everything. We've been worshipping women when we say, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, Shakti Rupena Sanstita, Buddhi Rupena Sanstita, Matra Rupena Sanstita, meaning the one who's present in each and every being in the form of Shakti. Where even Shiv is incomplete without her, he becomes Ardhanarishwar. She's an Ardhangini. The man is incomplete without her. No puja is complete without her. She sits on the right of the man in all the anushtans. You call the Mother Earth Devi. So Hindus are taught at homes, even today. Because I would like to say this, that Dharma or Hindu is not just on the social media, I'm sorry, or also just in a conference. Go enter smaller homes, go see villages, go see small towns. Hindu and Hinduism, and empowerment and women empowerment and equality thrives there. So when we say, we teach a child कि जब भी पैर रखो धरती पे तो क्षमा प्रार्थना करो, you know, samudra vasane devi. So you beg her forgiveness when you touch her with your feet. You worship the rivers, you call them mothers. Even today, Hindus do that, millions of them do that. The moment you touch water, the moment you pick water to drink water or to bathe, you invoke all the rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati. So you do that. So women says who did not have rights. Of course, whatever are, the ills that crept in, they crept in because of the aggressions. All the parda, all the discrimination, all the dowry and all these ills actually crept into our society. And we need to eradicate them. But again, coming back from what we are and what we were and what our ideology is, they had equal right to education, they had equal right to everything, to the yajna, to Janev Sanskar, to Anushtans, to everything. We had Vidushis, we had Rishikas, we've had brahmacharinis, we've had warriors, we've had women in every field. And even today, look into your homes. Who rules? Is the woman? Ask the man. Who takes the better decisions? It's she. So women in most of our Ganarajas got martial art training as well. There were many Ganarajas, there were many republics who actually trained girls of 18 years and 20 years into military warfare. So we've had, I'm trying to go really fast because I've been just given 10 minutes, I don't know. Okay, so even the parda and the dowry and all, you'll be surprised to know that how dowry came in, So, Charles II was given Bombay in dowry when he married Catherine of Braganza. So where does dowry come from? We didn't have it. In fact, they auctioned Rome, Britain, Greece, they auctioned their brides and dowry annually. So I'll just try to, sum up. Even as far as so we know all these systems were put in place. Even to earn earth is not a taboo, but you have to do it via dharma. The first responsibility that any Hindu has is following dharma, and following the dharmic principles you earn earth. So earning wealth is also not a taboo. Hoarding is, greed is, sex is not a taboo, because procreation ke liye kaam, and then finally the moksha. So we didn't have any of those taboos, and we had I'll just try to shorten this as far as children are concerned, because we talk of many children and we have lawyers here who will be actually briefing you about it. So our Shastra mentioned about 12 type of children, where stepchildren, even illegitimate children, girls and boys, all of them are supposed to be given equal rights in everything, in property, in education, and the same treatment and the same social or moral support that you're supposed to give to all the children equally. So all these ills were not there. And I quickly just come to the last point because she's already shown me the 2 minutes thing. So I've just done a book which says Ancient Future. So I'll sum it up here. It has a lot of details. I've just mentioned a few things here. So that is where we begin. Where we come from is the way forward. That is why I called it Ancient Future. It's going to be soon in print. So I tried my best to be as quick or as fast as I could be. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Now I invite Professor Ragna Arya. Professor Ragna Arya is a professor at National Law Institute University, Bhopal. She has a PhD from JNU. So if you are from India and you have been hearing a lot about JNU, you will see a different side of JNU today. By the way, I am also JNU graduate. She is well published. She is a member of 22nd Law Commission of India, and she is going to be talking on legal position of women in Hindu Dharma, Islam and Christianity.
थैंक यू सो मच एंड सभा में उपस्थित सभी मेरी बहनें सभी को मेरा नमस्ते और स्पेशली आई थिंक भूमिका एंड रितिका को मेरा स्पेशल थैंक्स। मेरी धारणाओं के विरुद्ध उन्होंने मुझे एक विदेशी भूमि पर खींचा, जो कि मेरी अपनी ऐसी एक धारणा आज के दिमाग में चल रही थी कि पहले मेरे लिए सबसे आवश्यक है मेरे अपने देश में भी जो परिस्थितियां हैं उनको पहले हम सुधारें, उसके बाद ही जब तक अपना घर ना सुधारें जब तक हम बाहर क्या सुधारेंगे। So that's why I was just thinking in terms of that the point that has been given to me, of course there will be certain some point that could be a little repetition of that, because the presentation I have, it is on legal rights of Hindu women in Hindu Dharma, Islam and of course in Christianity. So the thing is that first point that I was trying to put across in my presentation was that first of all, the notion of women, because if we talk in terms of that, it varies in all three cultures when we talk about Hindu Dharma, Islam and in Christianity. The thing is that as far as Hindu Dharma is concerned, it speaks about Ardhanarishwar. And Ardhanarishwar means where they say Shiv and Shakti. As you all heard, the Prime Minister said, and he has given the name to this spot where the lander has landed on this moon. So this was the point that he has given. The meaning was that they are complementary, they are not adversarial. The thing is whether the man-woman relationship is based on adversariality or it is based on complementarity. So when we talk about Ardhanarishwar is complementary. No one is complete without other. Because they say that as far as the Purush and Prakriti, two things they bring together to explain the concept, that Purush is passive and Shakti is the active part. So if there is something which is passive, now put to the act by Shakti, then it is just dead. So that's where when we talk in terms of these issues, we're just trying to see, as I said, not in adversarial but in the complementary aspect. So when we talk about the whole issue, when it comes to culture, when it comes to society, then we see that we say that the law cannot be divorced from the social thought process. Because law is something which is emanating from the society, what society thinks. So that's why it becomes very important for us to understand the status of a woman. Whether woman is being considered at par with man, or something like, as in Christianity they say, that woman was created by God out of the rib of Adam. It means she does not have any soul, and why God has created Eve for the purpose of marrying Adam, because this is the story that says that because he was feeling boredom, he was feeling loneliness, that's why God, because was very much loving his own creation, Adam, so he wanted to make him happy. So they brought a woman, and he has brought woman for the purpose of marrying, having family, children and all that. Though of course the story goes, as you know, that there have been certain issues in which Eve was held responsible, making Adam falling from the grace, and that's why, of course, a different kind of treatment was given to Eve, and of course, we all are considered to be descendant of Eve, so that's why we were having a different kind of treatment that were given to us. As far as Islam is concerned, Islam generally, when it talks about women, it says that women are at par. But when we try to see the practice part, because we know that women in Islamic countries these days, they are also fighting for their rights. They are talking about that they should be freed from the status of legal minor. Legal minor, as you can understand, will be under the guardianship. And this is the thing that wherever women have to go, wherever women, whatever they have to do, the man's permission is important. Even in the case of a married woman, if they want to, separation is not that easy in Islam. But when we come to our thing, like as far as Hindu Dharma is concerned, we know that women in Hindu Dharma was given a lot of freedom. We have heard so many stories when we read, our Quran and all those kind of stories, that Kunti, who is a very major figure in Mahabharata, she is the one who can, invoke the god and can, of course, ask them, to make love to her, and she, as a result, she has given birth to 2 children. So these are the thing, or rather, the first one was, as we know, was out of marriage. So this was a problem. Karna was born like that. But the later children were also born by this particular process. So this was the story. Again, if we go by Madri, another wife of Pandu, she was the one who opted to stay with her husband and ask Kunti to go back. So these are the things. Again, if we talk in terms of Sita, Sita we have heard was the one who was born in such condition that in modern period people may ask about her parentage, about her caste, about her religion. But when the story goes, nobody asks, neither the father, meaning Raja Jana, nor the husband, meaning Raja Shri Ram. And then, of course, the most powerful king at the period of time of Kaushal, Raja Dashrath, he didn't ask who she was. And she was accepted without any question. So this was the society. Again, when we talk in terms of Radha, Radha is nobody to Krishna if we talk in terms of modern society. In law, she was nobody, she was a friend. But then, she is more, worshipped than Krishna if we go to Vrindavan and we go to Gokul. So this is the kind of India we were having. We do not know what happened to that India, where women were having so much power. But we do know the answer. The invasion came, and invasion brought along with its own culture, where the condition of women was not so clear. It was, of course, they were trying to respect their women, but it was not equal to what it was happening in India. So when we talk about, like I said, Islam, when you try to see, there are 2 perceptions about that. One is Shia, another is Sunni. We do see that as far as Shias are concerned, they are more flexible. But as far as Sunnis are concerned, they are more orthodox in their approach. But as far as the key thing is concerned, it is about the legal minor thing. So when we talk about the status of women in such a condition, can they be given any freedom? So when we say that if they are having an unhappy marriage, they cannot get out of it. It means that they have to wait for women, for the man to agree with that. Now we have seen something of that sort happening in India recently, when we heard about the thing triple talaq. And triple talaq was something, when Quran we read, we find a very different matter. And because we know that the kind of culture that's being practiced by the people in society, and the way it really been quoted by our rishis, our munis, sages, and the experts. But when it comes into practices many a time are distorted one. Now when it happened, triple talaq was supposed to, I think by now you all will be aware of the fact, it was not at the one time you can say triple talaq, means talaq, 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 at one time, no, you can't say. It was something that first you have to say talaq, then you have to wait for the iddah period, if you must be aware of the Muslim thing. Then you have to wait. Then, and it is, according to Prophet, it was explained, was to give a kind of cooling time to the man. If out of emotion, if he has said something like that, so he should have a second chance to get the woman back. But then, second time when he says that, then of course this is the one, again a kind of period to think twice. Then this way there were 3, different time period. It is not something like just a cinema mein dekha diya that they say tarak tarak. No, it is not like this. It is very fashionable and very demeaning for women also. So this is something that they did, and when you read the real thing, that is the one. But then, even the Prophet's intentions were defeated, because recently I was going through the Saudi Arabia thing. They said you can send over phone, you can send over like this. So this is not done. This is, I think, demeaning women. This is what we feel. So perhaps, but then, what I really appreciate, the women in Islamic countries, they are fighting for their rights. Because they made a request to Prince Salman, as you might be knowing about that. Saudi Arabia is taking a lot of steps. As far as Iran is concerned, Iran is also trying to make an amendment to that. So generally what do we see as far as marriage is concerned, custody of children is concerned, a woman's right to be a woman is concerned. So this is something that we see, that Hindu Dharma, if we try to understand originally, is the one. But as far as the Christianity is concerned, Christianity once again is trying to, reconcile with certain facts. Because as I told you, that God has created women for men. So that's why she has to take care of household chores. So all the debate about this public and private sphere is very much rooted in this notion that when God has created women for men, so role division is automatically done. So that way, of course, the role is subservient. Now woman has to please the man. This is something. Even if she wants to abort, she cannot. So of course West has this particular kind of discourse that my body is mine. So that is when they try to, of course, call it like this. But then as we see, what I really appreciate once again in India, in the modern India is that when Constitution was created, then the universal adult franchise, the voting rights to women were given at the same time. As far as women education is concerned, it is not an anathema as far as India is concerned. The only issue as far as women education is concerned is its safety. Now safety, as I said, is not about the thing that it was there in the culture, but somehow an amalgamation of different culture has created a compromising situation. As far as women are concerned, I would like to conclude, because I am a law professor, and when I teach my students, who of course are sitting on a very prime position, they are law practitioners, they are judges, and they are having a lot of positions. What I was just trying to find out from the women, that when they try to objectify themselves, we on one hand we try to free women, from the kind of environment which we call patriarchal. But the thing is, the minds of the women, are they really so, understanding the situation they want to change? Because when, I think a few days back, I was speaking to one of my students about gender equality. I said, see, I hardly see women who are very forthcoming to participate in politics. Though, of course, we know that, Prime Minister has passed that particular women reservation bill. But the thing is that how many women are really interested? So I think in many things we have to think about that yes, of course, rights are given by the society, rights are given by the state, but are we there to take them? Do we really understand what do they mean? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Akaya. Now I invite Srimati Deepa Singh. Deepa Singh is a digital content creator and a communication specialist. She was the lead manager for social media content strategy for Yogi Adityanath's Vidhan Sabha campaign. She was very hard and made him win. We are thankful for that. She will be speaking on this portrayal of Hindu Dharma in academia.
थैंक यू इंद्र जी। नमस्ते। सबसे पहली बात तो इतनी सारी महिलाएं यहाँ बैठी हैं, इतने किलोमीटर, इतने 1000 किलोमीटर दूर अपने घरों से, साथ में कुछ पुरुष भी बैठे हैं, तो पेट्रियार्कल तो नहीं है हमारी सोसाइटी, ये बात तो बहुत क्लियर है। बट जो भी बात है, पोर्ट्रे किया जाता है कि एकेडमिया ये पोर्ट्रे करता है कि हम जो है पेट्रियार्कल है। तो आज इसी पे बात करते हैं। So basically, if we start talking about कि there is a bias and misportrayal in academia, first thing is we should understand the root cause. जब तक root cause नहीं समझेंगे, तब तक actual problem नहीं समझ पाएंगे. Because we have to understand root cause and then we have to fix it. So root cause जो है, उसकी शुरुआत हुई colonial भारत से. Colonial भारत के कारण जब भारत को जानना समझना शुरू किया वेस्ट ने, उस वक्त वेस्टर्न स्कॉलर्स ने बिना भारत को समझे, बिना हिंदू धर्म को समझे, अपने हिंदू धर्म के बारे में लिखना शुरू कर दिया. And when they started writing it and they started passing on that information to non-native scholars. अब ये वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने भारत को कभी देखा नहीं. These are those people who never knew anything about Hindu Dharma, but they were seeing Bharat and Hindu Dharma by the eyes of Western scholars. And the result was, this was the story of Bharat and Hindu Dharma was outsider to outsider. So no one knew what it is and how deep it is, how knowledgeable it is, but they were portraying us like patriarchal or orthodox or superstitious. Now with this outsider to outsider exchange, the Indology came in the picture, and these Indologists, they are the main reason because of on the basis of their thesis and their theories, the whole academia started perceiving us in a certain manner. I am giving you a few examples how Indologists were perceiving us. So here is German Indologist, and see what kind of emotion, what kind of impression they have for our Devi Devtas. Similarly, I'll talk about this Sacred Books of the East. This is a book, collection of books which define Asian religions, and this book was edited by Max Muller and published by Oxford University Press. And the same Max Muller written a letter to his wife explaining that we have to uproot whatever is sprung out of Rig Veda. So you can see the hatred against Hindu Dharma or Bharat. Similarly, in Oxford, there was a Gordon professor there was a post position created, Gordon Professor of Sanskrit in the University of Oxford. The core agenda for this post was that somehow we translate everything in Sanskrit so that we can send people to convert in Christianity. So they wanted to convert we Bharatiyas at that point of a time, that they wanted to convert us, and whatever we are seeing right now in Bharat is a result of those initiatives. And if we talk about, especially in context of Bharat, there are so many faces. We all belong from Bharat, and we are seeing the kind of education which we are getting in NCERT books. There are like the whole history book is filled with Mughal stories, and there are hardly one or two paragraphs or hardly one chapter about Maratha Samrajya. So this is how, and the same Macaulay wrote a letter to his wife, and he said, no Hindu has received an English education ever continued to be sincerely attached to his religion. And we can see whatever, whenever, sorry ma'am, whenever we talk about JNU and all, we are seeing those examples there in Bharat right now. So, how it works? So, whatever they have created, how it is impacting our generations. So, usually in home, mothers are giving some amount of dharma learning to the kids. But as soon as they enter into their schools, whatever they are getting in their books, whatever they are studying in their books, and whatever information they are getting from that liberal mindset for teachers, they are getting confused. And then it's layered by, amplified by atrocity literature. Rajiv Malhotra explained atrocity literature very well, that this literature is a Western propaganda, and the core objective of this literature is that how we can dismantle Bharat and Hindu Dharma. So this literature again poisons the minds of youngsters, and the result is whatever we are seeing in our houses and in our neighborhood, either the kids are atheist, secular, and a big amount of people apologetic Hindus. So these are the examples which we are seeing every day in Bharat. And I am sure most of you know about this dismantling global Hindutva initiative. And if you notice, there were 40, almost more than 40 universities. They were sponsors of this event. And if you see the name of the speakers, you will see lots of Bharatiya Mool names, lots of Bharatiyas mentioned here. But then they are again opposing Hindu Dharma and Bharat. And the single point agenda is somehow portray Hindu Dharma in a manner that it's casteist, patriarchal, fundamentalist, superstitious, and so on. So this is one comparison I wanted to share, that if we talk about our literature, our Veda, Upanishads and all, in reality we have so much of knowledge, but we always get portrayed as casteist, Brahminical, and we have Dalit system in our, we have caste system in our society. So the portrayal is always about our caste system. They categorically avoid talking about our Vedas and Upanishads and our knowledge or our Dharma Grantha. Similarly, if you know, we all celebrate Navratri, we pray goddesses, and there are so many examples in our Dharma Grantha. We know so many stories that women always had the power in their hands. And today also, like earlier speaker said, that end of the day chalti to decision making part of women ke haath mein hoti hai. So that's the reality. But always get portrayed as that women are suppressed, they don't have their own identity. So this is the portrayal because of academia categorically they want to portray Hindu Dharma like that. Another example is, if we talk about Rishi Kanad's Darshan Shastra and all, these and Charak, medicine from Charak, gravity from Bhaskara, these things are, nobody is going to mention it because they don't want to mention it. They are deliberately talking about Gaumut. This is one thing which they prefer to talk about it, and this is how they are making fun of our belief system. I am giving you only one example about one post posted by Audrey. She is a historian of South Asia and she is an associate professor. And the kind of tweets she is writing on social media about Hindu Devi Devtas, think about it. The same professor, when she is teaching in her class to so many students every year, what kind of Hindu phobia she is seeding in their mind, what kind of a narrative getting seeded in young brains. So I'm showing you one small clip. This is how world is perceiving us. This video is not playing, it's not with some error, but this movie is made by Steven Spielberg, a very big Hollywood director, and yes. And this is, sorry, I'll tell you the name. So basically here is a Bali scene, and Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. This is a scene when Amrish Puri is saying, Bali Mangti, Kali Ma, Bali Mangti, and they are showing, they are sacrificing a man. So this is how, it's not that what, they are perceiving us like that. And when they are perceiving us, they are showing it like that. And now this is the problem, like Swamiji always say, our enemies have every right to destroy us, but it's our prerogative whether we want to sit and sulk or we want to make changes and make our strategy. So our strategy is first curriculum reform, that is very, very important, faculty development, and education. There should be a proper communication between Hindu communities and education system, and it is already started in Bharat, and I don't want to talk much about it because Indrani ji is involved in this process, so she may be able to tell you more about this. In 25 universities in Bharat, Hindu studies started, and it's a great beginning, and probably we'll be able to change the education system very soon.
Thank you, Deepali. Dr. Vedika Mati Hardayal Chakoli. She is an associate professor and head of the Department of Philosophy in Mahatma Gandhi Institute, Mauritius. She will be speaking on challenges of Hindu women in academia. So, you're welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Sarvebhyo Devebhyo. At the very outset, I would like to thank the World Hindu Foundation, in particular Swamiji, also Sis Pitrikaji for facilitating my participation in your midst today. I'm really humbled to be here. So I shall be sharing certain points on the challenges of Hindu women in academia and touching upon certain concepts like gender, navigating gender, cultural expectations and institutional barriers. Allow me to quote from the Sri Devi Mahatmya. It says, Vidya Devi Bhavantu Me. May we all be blessed by the goddess of knowledge. Over the past decades, the global share of women in academia has increased from 35% in 1990 to 45% in 2020. Yet behind this overall positive trend lies a different reality. For women, as their career progression is often impeded by a series of glass ceilings and sticky floors. It is in this context that this year, on the occasion of International Women's Day, the UNESCO published a brief profile on the purpose of measuring women policy measures to increase access to women at all levels. So it is in this context that I will highlight the certain points. The obvious question that arises as to why women's participation in academia is essential. You might all have come across this book that men are from Venus and women are from Mars. Are we? Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It is written by the author John Gray in 1992. Obviously, the gist of this book speaks about the psychological differences between men and women. Professors spoke about the Purush and Prakriti differentiation, that they do not divide, they are not as in the dualism between mind and body, but in fact they complement each other. So having this in mind, we find that there is a clear disparity in the involvement of women in academia. Now, what are the reasons? What could be the reasons behind those? Well, the ideas that I'm sharing with you is mainly focused on countries of Hindu diaspora, mainly Bharat. So it ensures that, why so? In order to ensure that voices are heard and that diverse perspectives are considered in the pursuit of knowledge. Secondly, it is to promote innovation and creativity as women bring new ideas and approaches to their work, being multidimensional, having more problem-solving skills perhaps. And thirdly, they serve as role model for the younger generations, demonstrating that women can succeed in any field. So, this problem can be looked, it is an intersectionality, a multifaceted challenge. The intersection of gender, caste and religious identity creates a unique set of challenges for Hindu women in academia. Each factor contributes to their marginalization and limits their opportunities for advancement. Addressing these challenges requires definitely a multifaceted approach. So, this approach will include promoting gender equality, countering caste discrimination, and thirdly, recognizing religious diversity. This can be, if we create a more equitable and inclusive academic environment where all women can thrive and contribute to their full potential. Here is a list of some inspiring Hindu women who have paved the way for future generations. We have Dr. Subhashini Ranganathan, Dr. Anandit Gopal Joshi, Dr. Indira Nath, Dr. Aruna Roy, Dr. Sudha Murthy, who is very much trending these days on social media, and a real inspiration for all of us women. Now, how to achieve this full potential? Cultural sensibilities, focus on cultural sensibilities, effective time management, open and through open communication. Hindu women can navigate the interplay of family responsibilities, gender roles, and academic aspirations. With dedication, support systems, and a willingness to change stereotypes, Hindu women can achieve their full potential in academia. Very quickly, I will share some strategies to promote, strategies and solutions to promote the advancement of Hindu women in academia. So we need to have a targeted mentorship and sponsorship program. Maybe universities are working towards that, higher education institutions are working towards that, but what we have currently is not sufficient, especially in the case of Mauritius. We have scholarship programs and financial support that can be created. Inclusive hiring and promotion practices, flexibility, flexible work arrangement and support systems, cultural competency training and awareness campaigns. Institutional policies supporting gender equality, definitely a must. And we need to promote role models, especially for the millennials, and to give them the success stories. Data collection and monitoring. Open communication and continuous improvement is very important to foster open communication channels with Hindu women in academia to gather feedback, address concerns, involve them in shaping the initiatives, to maintain a commitment to continuous improvement, recognizing that addressing gender disparities is an ongoing process. That would be all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vedika. Now we invite questions from audience. Please keep your questions to the point and be very succinct, and we will try to answer your questions to the best of our abilities.
Okay, I just wanted to cover some a topic so that we can actually, we were expecting the Hindu Women's Forum to champion the Hindu women in north and east of Sri Lanka, the issues relating to it. So it basically covers all the 5 sections you'll be covering. So I was going to put it in one so that you can cover the academia as well as the human rights side. May I talk about it, or do you want me to just give that as a separate item?
Hello, Namaste. My name is Garima Agrawal. I'm part of the Seva International. Quick question, actually, thank you all for your point of view. It's very interesting to hear from all the leading women and know their point of view. It's very enlightening, and then I'm so glad I chose to be in the Women Conference. And then my question was, there is a lot of misinformation for us who grew up in last 30-40 days using the British system of studying. So is there a credible source where we can go and learn what's the truth about our own religion? Like Meenakshi mentioned about the dowry. Like I always thought it was Indian. Like I never knew that it came to our society or it was intermingled because of it. So where can we go and find credible sources where we can learn about our own religion?
Okay, yes. You see this, there isn't any one such book or one such source where one could learn something like this. But there definitely, my suggestion to everybody has always been that you begin with understanding Dharma first, because that is the Aadhar, we call it the foundation, you know. The moment you start practicing your Dharma, the moment you start learning and understanding, it gives you such immense faith, firstly. And it teaches you that total surrender. The moment you get into that mode, that you will be actually able to reach things. And I really do not know, because I've been studying this for over 20 years and working like that. So I do have certain, talks here and there and certain articles. I am not really very certain about, because it's a lot of hard work that I've put in many years. So I haven't really found it in any one particular book as such. So we can stay connected and It's about like there'll be many people who will be doing things like that as well as certain,
Formal learning of this will take a lot of time, but of late I had started studying from one of the online gurukulas. This is called Paramvidya Gurukula. So I don't know how each gurukula works or so, but to me I think this is helping. I can understand Dharma, religion, the foundation, all this a little better. Like my understanding of Dharma has improved because of this. But like my understanding study is vast. So I don't know how the formal study will work. But I think this is helpful. And there are many such online sources that are coming up now.
I would also like to say one small thing here to everybody, because it's like there was this in the 18th century an Asiatic Society of Bengal was created, wherein the Max Muller, you talk about everybody, they actually hired a lot of foreigners, they hired a lot of Indians, they even hired Sanskrit professors. So Manusmriti, which is mostly talked about, that is a very distorted version of Manusmriti which is available today, and that when it was translated in such a manner that it proved every pratha or every tradition of ours to be an ill on the society. And okay. So it's just that all those, we have a lot of distorted books, but then there are books which can be found, and I'll also try to put them up somewhere.
Just to add to your predicament, since I come from a colonized country, we have also been exposed to distorted information. So one solution or recommendation I received, start studying Sanskrit. So maybe that could be one way out. And you'll be exposed to the primary text. Thank you.
I would like to add, probably, maybe it's not exactly the answer you're looking for, but there are many websites where you can go, and I can just mention one or two. One is HP of America. That website has all the information, the basic information, the question you have about the dowry system. Or there is a Hindu American Foundation. You can go there and get some answers. And if you know Malhotraji, you can read his books also. So there are many books and websites where you will get the information. Thank you.
I also want to add 2 points. One is about 2 points about the questions which, so yeah, there are some sort of comments, but I think they will be valuable. So just 2 quick points. One is about
I'm just curious, when I heard that question, it brought a question in my mind. How many people here have read their own scriptures? How many people really know about the Gita? How many people really know the Ramayana? If people are making attacks, those people are worshiping demons. Like Ramakrishna Math has so many materials with the scriptures, with great commentary by Sri Shankaracharya. Everyone should be knowing their own scriptures and exactly what things are represented. There's no way to invent it otherwise. So that's my question. How many people are doing that?
I have a question that, some of the challenges you've mentioned, are they partly related or global, you find them global related? Because our challenges, I'm from London, so I found some of our challenges are very different to yours. So some of the researches you're doing or some of the information you presented, is that towards your own country or the particular region? Or, and how are you going to put that into a global network?
They're universal in nature, and as I said, they are relevant to the countries of Indian diaspora. If you're talking about the challenges, yes, general in nature. But taking into consideration the countries of Indian diaspora, of course, every country will have their own landscape, educational landscape. If we're talking about higher education institutions or academia, they have their own policy. So that would be guided by the specific policy of that country.
Namaste ji. I have a question for Professor Rahaji. As you're talking about, particularly when you're in academia and you're looking at all the different religions, and particularly in Bharat, how Islam and Hinduism is different laws, but we always say laws above all and all are treated equal. So how do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile the difference in treating people differently and different laws apply to different people and then still apply the law of the land?
Yeah, this is actually what I was pointing at, that since India is a country that is governed by the Constitution. The Constitution is an idea that says the rule of law is supreme. So all are bound by that. So as you must be aware that currently this debate is going on as far as Uniform Civil Code is concerned. That of course there are only one community that is still not made partner into that. But it's still a lot of scope is being given, because as far as India is concerned, the whole policy, the original policy, the cultural policy is assimilation, to imbibe the ideas, not to impose the ideas. So a time was given to think about that, and also now, again, another step is taken in that direction, that when they are, that the public discourse has been initiated, the issue has been brought to the public, that what is their view, because as I just made a reference that even women in India, they are making a lot of representation before the court. The whole point, in fact, started when the matter came before the court. Even priorly, it was a matter that was generally to be dealt with by the community. When it has come to the court, then the whole idea came, because as far as Constitution is concerned, speaks about fundamental rights, and which has been granted to all the citizens in equal manner. The thing is, so no community can have more share than other community. But as we can see that law and culture go in hand together, they work in sync. So the temperament of the government is that they don't want to actually do things that may disturb that particular kind of harmony. But now, as I said, the things are being put into the public, and since India has been a country of discourse, they are not averse to discuss ideas. They love to discuss, debate, and of course want to take the idea to the logical conclusion. Because we are a country of logic, so that's why a lot of things are coming, and it's very good that a kind of initiative has been granted by the people or the members of that particular community. Also, there was a matter that came before the court was the rights of women, Christian women in ancestral property. So that was also a kind of issue that was court is trying to resolve that, because here they were saying that it means it is something applied to right to be forgotten. It means you are not allowing women to be remembered. That's why you have created a kind of system where everything is flowing from man's right. So this is something that we are trying to negotiate. Now the thing is constantly court is deliberating upon that, and since it's an age of information technology, so everything is coming to the domain of public. Now we all are sitting here and discussing it, and of course court is also, we are lending a willing ear. So I think this is a process. Perhaps I think very fast and very soon we will be in a position to have actual gender equality. Abhi we can say it's a notional one, not fully achieved, but I think we are moving in the direction that we will be, achieving it sooner, because now women have started speaking and court is listening. That's a good change, I think so.
Good afternoon and namaste. I'm Bhavna and I'm from Singapore. A lovely session has been going on Sanatan. Can you hear me? On Sanatan Dharma and its application on our modern life. To understand Dharma is not easy, even though you've read many scriptures. I feel we need a spiritual mentor in life. So my question goes to law of karma. What do speakers think about law of karma? Because even to apply dharma, we have to perform our karmas. So my question is on, what do you think on law of karma? Thank you.
Well, like I said in the beginning, that dharma, what does dharma mean? Yeah, so dharma clearly means living by and living in accord with how the cosmos wants us to, right? And karma is your deed. Now let me tell you one thing, this is what I've always said and I've always felt. Everybody is a karma yogi on this earth. Everybody. Because inaction is also a karma. As the karma is an action, inaction is also a karma. So whatever you do, whatever goes has to come around. So obviously, one can say that Bhagwan or Narayan, he is the one who is the best father, who gives you, full right or total right to exploit your talent or do whatever you wish to do, and he is going to never interfere and never stop you. And you're going to benefit, or whatever you go through is what you've done in this life or your earlier life, because we believe in rebirth. And that is why we believe in, prarabdha karma. Whatever we are going through today, whatever we gain, whether it is beauty, whether it is health, whether it is intelligence, whether it is monetary gains, everything has come from many lives. All our talents have also come to us from many lives. So, the course of correction is needed, whatever you do today, because you're here forever. You're just changing your clothes when you leave this body. You're just changing your clothes. That's it. But you're going to be there forever. So that is why we say that aapko prarabdha nahi pata hai. It's like debit and credit. So whatever you've done, you have to. You will have to go through it. You will have to take it. Whatever is done will bear its results. So that is why we say if you do not know why you are suffering, at least today you correct your course of action so that you don't suffer in future. So whatever you sow today has to come to you again in future. So
Can I add something to what Meenakshi has said? Because the thing is, I think currently this debate is going on about dharma. Because there is a lot of confusion first about the term itself. Because when we say that religion has been many a time equated with dharma, dharma is something like we are told that it is duty, that it is dharan jo aap karte hain, that is duty and all that. So yes, of course, that is true, that we do not have any formal training of learning that what dharma is all about. Because there are a lot of interpretation of it. So when we even talk in terms of that karma is dharma, then again, as rightly have said, yes, and that is the thing that we are discussing here, that things are not being made part of the curriculum. The things have gone, whatever they are saying, that pointedly it has been made a point that we don't learn about these formally. And we are learning something else formally. So that's why a lot of confusion is coming to our mind, because we live something that is different, but when we are exposed to a formal environment, it is completely different. So that's why we have to make an effort to bring them in conformity with each other. That is the biggest effort that we have to make, and that's why we are sitting here to discuss about that. That what we are reading is, that is about the brainwashing us, that we are, what we are not. So that is, they are trying to make us that. So this is something that is a challenge before us, that how we will deal with this term. Now I'm introducing the term narrative. Because she said about JNU. See, I say about JNU are both the phases. It's not that JNU are one phase. So you can see that I am the another phase of JNU. So you can see, and perhaps you like the phase. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My question is to you, if you can, that how can women empower themselves, and also that how can we apply the scriptures now in our life?
Did you say how can women empower themselves?
How can women empower themselves?
Right where you are, you empower yourself. From right where you are, you empower yourself. Because you voice your opinion. So you learn to voice your opinion wherever you are. And that is where, again, I'm connected to karma. Because be where you are and do the best that you can. And that is how you empower yourself, Use all your wherewithal. Use your intelligence. And do whatever best you can to yourself. And that's how you even impart it to your children or the family around. I've done that, my daughter's here. And she's a hardcore follower, ardent believer of Dharma. So one can do it. I have done it. You can do it too. And again, I'll take 2 minutes from you all. I come from a race which has, defended the gates of Bharatvarsh from the time of Alexander. So that is called Khokars. The Khokars is where I come from. And I am a proud descendant of the family that fought and survived the 1947 partition. They did not convert in the face of partition. And whatever strength or whatever energy or whatever dedication towards Dharma or towards Bharat that I have comes from that lineage, from both my parents. So when they fought, when they had to fight during 1947, they did not convert. Hardly anybody could come. My uncle had to kill 23 people, 23 members. My Tayaji had to kill 23 members of his own family to survive. So just a handful came here to this part of the country to tell the world what we underwent or what the Hindus, over 4 crore were displaced, over 50 lakh were killed during 1947. And as Indrani said in the beginning, that is how one day suddenly I decided that no, who's going to repay that dharma rin? Because that is what we are enjoined upon. Paying back the rin, rishi rin, of whatever knowledge you've learned, pay that back, spread it, teach it to your offspring, teach it to your neighbors and friends. That is your rishi rin which you have to give, repay that is. You have to repay the rin to the devtas, because whatever you breathe, you eat, you live on this earth, like I said, when we worship the earth, when we worship the rivers, and every grain of food that we consume, we thank Brahma, Brahma Arpanam Brahma, jab hum khana khate hain, so we say that. So all those things you have to learn, that's to you as well, when you would ask that question. I'll guide you, that's very simple. Just 8 times small mantra per day. You are able to do that, I think you will know all the scriptures, but you know just 8-10 of them. So, Pitra is paying back to your ancestors for the progeny, the gene pool. We are Hindu today. Only us have survived that. 1400 years, rather 1800 years of aggression. No other society, all other societies fell within 10 to 15 years. Watching it, they're going to be streaming, they're going to be recording, so they're going to be watching it, and of course a lot of thought will go into it. Maybe they might be having some other, thoughts.
I wouldn't put Meenakshi ji through it. Why are women here, men kahan hai, what is happening? That's a question to the organizer. Thank you very much. We'll answer it offline only because of the time. And so I'll meet you after the break. I can stay back for everyone who's wanting to stay back after the break.
I would like to invite Dr. She wanted to say something, and because we had advised our question person.
I just wanted to add 2 points. One was about dowry. So the point is that we always had the notion of Stri Dhan. That is there, but dowry is a different kind of, distorted version of Stri Dhan. Stri Dhan was gifted by choice, jitna man kare utna dena, and dowry is something which is asked for. तो वो फर्क है, तो हमें ये सब फर्क बताना चाहिए. Second thing came about Manusmriti. So I want to add here that whenever any question comes about Manusmriti or any of the Smritis or Purans, so one thumb rule we can make, that is when it's about the essence of Hindu Dharma, the idea, the darshan, that is there in Upanishads and Veda. Smritis, they keep on changing with time and with the requirement. समय काल परिस्थिति के अनुसार स्मृति बदलती रहती है। और सिर्फ मनुस्मृति क्यों, बहुत सारी स्मृतियां हैं वो जानबूझ के हमें मनुस्मृति में फंसाते हैं। Distortion of Manusmriti is one thing, but then we must understand that the tree, Ved and Upanishad are the tree, and you can say that Smritis are shakhas, patte, वो आते जाते रहेंगे, so don't stick to them, and I would suggest that there is no need to defend even Manusmriti. उसमें बहुत कुछ अच्छा है, we'll say that we'll take it, and which is not relevant to today's time. This is what our Dharma teaches us, that we can discard that. Thank you.
Both when we were glorious and when we were suppressed. We must not hesitate to call out biases and discrimination. We cannot fight what we can't even name. So if we are being counted by Muslim community, we have to come out and say that that's what is happening. I will just also add my 15 seconds to this. That recently there has been a lot of attack on Hindu community in USA. And this is by Muslim organizations over there, CARE and Indian Council of Muslim Association and all. And our people over there so far never said who were attacking them. They kept on calling those attacks racist and by white supremacists. They did not say that it was attacked by Muslims. It took a Muslim lady, Asra Nomani, to come out and say who were the attackers, what was going on and why was going on. So how can you fight something if you are even so afraid that you cannot even name it? It's just going to embolden your enemies. So wherever you are, whichever country you are, if you are being attacked, you know who is doing it, you should be able to come out and say it. Tell your children, tell your community members, and come out and above all, tell your people representatives. You must talk about it. And then Meenakshi ji said we should use correct terms like Hindu Dharma, not Hinduism, history, not mythology. Recognize what Hindu Dharma actually stands for, which is equality and fairness in our society. Rakaji said that relation between man and woman can be adversarial or complementary. It is complementary in Hindu Dharma, adversarial in Muslims and Christians. The laws of societies are informed by the society, by how society views itself. And we must demand that the laws apply to all of us equally. Deepa Singh ji said that it's like ignorant leading the ignorant, the studies of Hindus. The object of study was not to be informed, but to root out Hindu knowledge and Hindu Dharma. Our curriculum is carrying the college work forward, and they are succeeding in it. Universities have become hotbed of Hindu media, and the way forward is to reform the curriculum. And we should tell, it's very important that we should tell our own story, and therefore degree programs on Hindu studies have been initiated in several universities. Vedika